How is everyone doing today? In this video, we are going to talk about a set of characters that are a bit different from the rest, and especially from the thumbnail until you already know what they are. And that is going to be what the limited units in Heaven Burns Red is. And the reason I want to make this a video is specifically looking at what characters will be here in the future, what characters do we already have that you should probably have an eye out for, or what you should look for, because these units don't function as the same as the others. Because if you look at the regular banners that we have right here, we have the featured platinum recruitment, and this goes for Misato and Akari, and this also goes onto something for like Mari and Ichigo. Man, this Mari EX goes really nice. But also, if y'all didn't know that either, I did get Misato out of nowhere, just one random multi here. I did an extra one just to see, maybe I got both. But looking at these characters specifically, when looking at Misato, Akari, and also looking at Ichiko and Mari, all these characters are the platinum characters, or the regular standard characters that will be dropping in Heaven Burns Red. This means that after their banner specifically, so after Misato leaves, after Amari leaves, those characters will be available to get off rate in other banners. That means if you go into Sutama or Sumegumi and you are able to get an SS, but you don't get those two specifically, Mari and Ichigo do have a chance of dropping. Same thing with here, with Akari and also Misato. So those are regular characters. When it comes to limited characters will not be in that off-rate pool for any of the banners until they come back. Our first experience with this is going to be Kanade and also Yuri and also Irie, but I only have SS's here, so we're just gonna imagine Irie somewhere on the screen. Kanade and Yuri will not be, and you cannot pull them off rate because they're only available when their collab banner is here. So whenever Angel Beats has another collab, whenever we get the second versions of Kanade SS1 and SS2, Yuri SS1, then that means they will be able to get through those means of that banner. And this goes for Irie as well, because the event that she is featured in was also a limited time event and is not here in the archive, which means that you cannot get her until that Angel Beats banner comes back eventually. So with all that being said, now that we know what limited characters are, now let's talk about all of the limited characters and how good they are for the most part. Now, looking at these limited characters, these are characters where you kind of have to plan to pull around because they aren't here every so often, and they also don't come as frequently. So this means that you have to kind of get them when they're there, or you're gonna have to wait a very long time, and then you have to, I guess you could say, plan it out once more again to pull them when they're there. There's not really an easy buy one get all free deal for any of these characters, like how we have a lot of the step up banners and we have a lot of the SS guaranteed banners that just crap out a bunch of random styles that you could use and a bunch of styles that you probably missed. These characters are not going to be that easy to grab compared to those characters, but we're going to narrow down which ones are really good, which ones are really strong. And our first one, which we should be receiving really soon, I do think this is going to be our half anniversary character, is going to be Unison Ruka. Now, Unison Ruka and Yuki, all of the Unison styles up until now are limited. So every character that houses two characters or two roles are going to be limited, and they're only available whenever they get reran on their banner specifically. So you'll always, for the most part, the only thing that's going to change is the off-rate characters that you can pull, because of course if we wait until the second time this Ruka reruns, and that means there will be better characters on the off-rate compared to the first time she reruns. But of course you still have to plan regardless on which time you're going to be pulling her on. This Ruka is very strong, and as you can see already, one of the main reasons why is because she does get Mind's Eye to herself. As you may see, Kanade is very strong because of that reason. Mua is very strong for giving it to the team or backline specifically. There's just really good options to grab Mind's Eye, and Sutama as well, who has a targeted Mind's Eye with crit rate, crit damage. That's always a really nice thing to have, especially when a character themselves house the buff that they want to give themselves. This means that you can basically take out a slot of the team that was going to be giving you this and put it for something else, whether it be general debuffing, whether it be general buffing, or element specific buffing and debuffing, which is really cool, especially with what we're about to talk about for this Ruka specifically, which is this Ruka, which, because she is a Unison character, has two different EX skills. One is going to be catered towards dark, and the other is going to be catered towards fire, which is really nice. Now, the reason this is cool is because say you're fighting a dark weakness enemy, you can use the dark EX skill. You're going to be getting a single target dark defense down, and then you're going to be able to use your EX skill with a 50% HP damage modifier. And then if you're fighting a fire weak enemy, now you can use the fire defense down, plus of course the hitting portion that is of the EX skill. So this is a really good character to not only house two different elements, which means you can basically put this same character on two different teams, which is really strong. She has Mind's Eye to herself, which is really good, and she functions similarly the same as Thunder Ruka, where she's giving a debuff to allow you to do more damage and then doing the EX skill herself, which is really strong. So this means that you already have the fire defense down, and then coupling that with, let's say, fragile with regular defense down, this is going to allow you to do so much more damage when you're combining all of these together. And this is what makes this Unison Ruka very strong. Her regular passive is just that she's going to allow herself get more damage with Mind's Eye, and I think this is a buff she gets in the future after that. Yeah, I think it's going to be a buff she gets in the future if I'm not wrong. And then if you have Mind's Eye at the start, you will also get boost defense down debuffs inflicted by self. So this means that any of the elemental ones that you're throwing out when it comes to the dark defense down and also the fire defense down, if you have Mind's Eye, you'll be giving a stronger debuff. So you're already going to be using this. If you're not using the Mind's Eye for some reason, that's kind of weird, because that's legit the whole strong portion of her kit that she can give herself Mind's Eye. So make sure to give her Mind's Eye, and then once you do that, you can give the EX skills off, and that just allows you to do more and more debuffing and more damage with these associated buffs, giving yourself attack up and also giving yourself defense down, more potency buffs, which is really cool. Her level 1 limit break is going to be 1 SP per turn, of course, and then her last limit break is going to be increased skill by 20%. So this Ruka is just very strong, very efficient with being able to cover multiple elements, which is always a really good thing because you're getting more value for your cords. Going on to the next style is going to be Unison Uina. Now this Uina is actually a little important, just because in the future, if you want to rock some low turn clears, if you want to beat things very fast, if you want to do some overdrive looping teams, this Uina is going to be very important. And not only that, this Uina is also very important for the light team specifically, because this will all allow you to be able to give the whole team the front line an additional turn. So this means that the other two characters are allowed to get another additional turn alongside you, which is actually very strong. Being able to give the other allies an extra turn to do something, especially those that are able to help you out with the overdrive gain, that way you can spam out overdrive 2, which is what they do with this Uina. They get overdrive 2 on first turn or second turn, I forgot which one it is. It's absolutely absurd stuff you can do with this specific skill by itself, so that is one thing to note. And with this Unison Uina, we are going to see that she has a regular EX skill, 10 hit AoE attack, which is really nice, and then she has a hit count buff, which is going to be allowing you to get that EX skill with AoE attack. So it's just a lot of really good situational stuff in which you're going to use these EX skills, whether you want the 10 hit AoE attack for the overdrive or the more potent skill with the HP modifier, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, the HP modifier for skill 1, and then also getting that hit count buff. All right, looking at what it does, you do get the hit count buff and the extra modifier whenever you are in the extra turn. So of course this is going to allow you to do so, getting that extra turn, and then using your EX skill right after allows you to get that hit count buff, which is very strong, giving yourself hit count buff, and then the AoE attack, which is really nice. Her passives: ice attack up, which of course that's what most elemental characters have at this point. Self recovery of 2 on the level 0, which is kind of insane. Of course, the regular 1 SP, and then you also have a lower SP cost by 2 on limit break 3. Holy moly, that is when you are at the start of an extra turn. That's going to help you out with the SP. And then for, I think, a buff, if I'm not wrong, she gets limit break 4. She gets 5 SP at the start of an extra turn, and you only can have that once, which is just going to allow her to use her EX go a lot faster, which is really strong. This Uina, like I said, has a little bit more viability when it comes to different teams in the future, rather than being the main carry itself. The Ruka we talked about earlier will be a character that is just going to be really good for defeating bosses like fire weakness and also dark weakness for the most part, while Uina is going to be more of a utility character where she's able to give you that extra turn and help out other future units like this light Uina with Monaka, where Monaka thrives off of extra turns. And being able to do something like that is just going to allow you to do insane amounts of damage with the light team in the future, and also allow you to rock some really funny overdrive looping teams with getting this additional turn, which is going to help you out by quite a bit. So this Uina is going to be very, very strong without a doubt. After Uina, we are looking at Unison Yuki. Now, Unison Yuki is going to be one of the more niche debuffers in this list of limited characters for the most part. She's not 100% needed. She is a little bit linked to other Yuki styles, like wanting the passives and stuff like that off for the Yukis, especially the breaking Yuki, because of course you're getting that super break, which is going to allow you to get that extra the extra destruction meter, which is really nice. This Yuki specifically is going to have two different versions of her skills. One is going to be 2 turns of status down, which is going to be her hacking debuff, which is decreasing stats by 100 for 2 turns, which is really, really nice. She also gives a 2-turn fragile, which is really good. You're putting really 2 strong debuffs onto the enemy, and then this is going to allow her to have DP damage modifier by plus 50. So she's going to be used a little bit more as a breaker. While she also has her skill 2, which is going to be the fire version of this. And if I'm not wrong, oh, they hit the same. Okay, so one's just dark and one's fire, very reminiscent of what the Ruka we just saw earlier. She's going to be more important for breaking, and she does have that really nice passive skill where it allows you to extend the enemy's turn duration by 1. So this means instead of the 1 time they are stunned and then they get right back up, they're going to have to wait an additional turn. So this can allow you to set up a little bit more, which is very strong as well. Which, as you can see, a lot of these Unison Memorias, a lot of these limited Memorias have really good utility, have really good moves on them to basically preserve their limitedness. I don't know what to say. But basically, they're trying to give you some really good stuff for it to be a reason why they're a limited character in regards to that. Her passives are going to be giving the attack up when they are dark. I'm assuming this is what it's saying. When the team is dark or has majority dark. She also has it where if they're majority fire, then you get a party attack up, which is really cool. Limit break 1 is the SP. As always, you have a self debuff effect duration. So this means that whenever you use a debuff like hawking, or you're looking at the turn duration, maybe I don't think this one's gonna count because that'd be really busted. You have a higher inflicted by 1 turn. If that is the case, holy crap. But that means the fragile and also the hacking is going to give you 3 turns instead of 2 turns, which is really, really cool. Holy cannoli, what are all these conditions? She has frontline recover SP. I'm assuming when you kill an enemy or when you break an enemy, something like that. We'll see in the future. But realistically, this is gonna be more of a premier debuffing unit, especially with this hacking debuff, which is going to allow you to decrease their stats by 100, which is actually insane. It's gonna allow you to break the barrier between doing enough damage and also lowering their defense, lowering the damage that they do to you as well. So this is just a really good debuff overall for this Yuki. And just this break turn extender is just really, really strong, allowing you to set up and not have to be afraid as much when you're looking at the harder bosses in the score battles and the Astrium and all that. The next one is going to be our last limited unit when it comes to Unison specifically, which is going to be Unison Bungo. Now this Unison Bungo is just brain dead. I've seen gameplay of this Unison Bungo. Yeah, there's just no way you don't beat everything with this specific character. This character basically takes up time on the field where she is going to convert everyone into a certain buff. Whenever you have that buff on you, she gains more, I would say, abilities within her EX skill. And as you can see, as she gets more allies with her buff, she's able to do a lot of crazy things. At the start, she has piercing attack, which is absolutely wild, something very reminiscent of Inori. With that being said, she also gets more damage on this piercing attack every single time she gets another ally with the buff. This goes up to 500, I'm assuming, and then stops. It stops at 500, but once you get 5 with the buff, which is not really hard to proc this buff because all you're doing is using this skill right here, which gives everyone the buff on the front line, if I'm not, it gives everybody in reserve the buff, which is really, really insane. Well, actually, no. This gives everyone in the front line, I think. But you get 5 people with that buff. You're able to get hit count buff, which is absolutely insane. Once you get the whole team with that buff, you get double hit count buff, plus the 500% piercing, 100% DP modifier, and the regular base damage that you would be seeing on a regular unit. This unit just has a lot of really crazy stuff for no reason at all. Every turn that someone has that buff on them, they get 1 SP extra every turn. Oh, and also whenever you have this buff as well, you also get increased weakness damage. So not only is she a buffer, she's a damage dealer, and also she's a support. Like, you just have a lot of crazy things with this character specifically and what you're able to do with her. She also has the extend turn down, which is actually insane to see as well. And whenever you have 6 servants active or 6 people with that buff, fill the overdrive gauge by 100%. As you can see, this is very, and I mean almost current day JP. This character is stupid. She has everything, so you cannot lose with this character. She's by far one of the most broken characters in the game, without a doubt. We're not going to see this character for a very long time because, like I said, this is very recent current day JP type of unit, but she is a really crazy unit for what she can do for the team and what she can do by herself. It's just absolutely insane to see the stuff that she can do. Now moving on after the Unisons. After we've looked up all the Unison characters from Ruka to Uina to Yuki and Bungo, now to look at all the Angel Beast characters. Oh, I forgot Nami. I also forgot about Nami. Nami is a new type of unit where she is the rider class, and with this rider class means that she is going to use DP for her, I guess you could say, moves, and using the DP allows you to get buffs and also allows her to use some crazy stuff with her own debuff. 7 turns party thunder create up, 7 turns party thunder crit damage up, and she has an AoE attack. This is going to be the only other limited unit that is not Collab that is a limited unit for the most part, and she's not a Unison, so this is a very interesting character to have. She does have Pierce, which is really cool, but other than that, this Nami specifically isn't the most craziest character known to man compared to the other limited units. Now to talk about the really cool stuff, all the Angel Beast characters. Of course we know what Yuri and Kanade do for the most part when it comes to their SS1, but to look at their SS2s, Yuri is going to have super break, but in, of course, the ice version of it. So this is going to be very reminiscent of the Yuki that we have that's for light. She's just basically doing that for ice, which is really cool to see. There really isn't anything crazy with this character specifically. She does have self SP recovery if she breaks, which gives her 8 SP, and I'm assuming this is whenever she breaks, which is kind of insane that there's no cap to it. Holy crap. But yeah, she does give herself that, and then I think, yeah, on her limit break 3 she also gives self ice attack, which is gonna help her break a little bit easier. For SS2 Kanade, this is where it gets important, because as you may know, especially when Angel Beats was out for the most part, Kanade SS1 was very important for a couple of reasons. Not only is she a really good light attacker, but also she can give herself Mind's Eye. Now this Mind's Eye buff is a common skill, so this means that you can't import this into the SS2 Kanade. And with that being said, that just makes this SS2 Kanade even stronger. And this SS2 Kanade kind of ramps up as the fight goes along, because she gives herself more damage based on how much DP she has. And guess what? She has a heal to herself that gives her 150% max DP. So that is going to give you an overheal and basically allowing your DP bar to gain a little bit more length, allowing you to do a little bit more damage, which is all really good stuff. This coupled with the Mind's Eye buff just allows you to do so much damage. And then she also gives herself a plethora of buffs from her limit breaks as well. Ice attack up for the party, of course the regular 1 SP, and then she gives herself 7 DP to keep herself topped up to a max of 150 max DP. So even if you weren't apparently using this one specific move that gives you 150 DP automatically, this will help you get to that point eventually and also keep you topped up. That way you're able to continue doing more damage with her EX skill. This kind of day is going to be very strong for ice teams without a single doubt. Irie, we've already talked about Irie for the most part. Irie is a very strong S rank with all that she's able to do, especially with one of her moves allowing you to do AoE attack down, and she also has a party DP recovery plus a frontline defense up, which is really good. This is a really good S rank, but of course sadly you cannot get this yet until Angel Beats comes back. But her SS2, now this is a crazy SS. this SS2 has self-defense up, AoE provoke. Really good thing for a defender to have. Not only that, she also for EX skill, party team heal, and 3 terms of party defense up. So this means everyone on your team is tanky. This is a really good unit, because this allows not only Irie to be strong, but this also allows your whole team to defend very well, which allows you to just set up a lot easier without having to worry of your deflector getting broken, without you getting KO'd, anything like that, which is all really good stuff. She also for herself can give herself back her DP bar when she gets broken, which is insane. The 1 SP as usual, and if your own DP is at 100%, actually when your own DP is 100%, you're giving yourself 50% defense up on top of all the other defense buffs you can give yourself. Irie SS is going to be a very strong unit. Hisako, this one isn't that crazy in all honesty as an S rank, but as an S rank she does have a single target ice defense down, which is really nice to have for those that don't have any SS Memorias that are element specific. So this character by itself is an okay unit for ice teams, which as you can see, a lot of the characters we've been looking at when it comes to Irie, when it comes to SS2 Kanade and SS1 Kanade, or SS2 Yuri, this is going to be very important, because having these characters, especially for newcomers that come during that time, they will have a S rank that gives them ice defense down, which is actually pretty cool to have for the most part. And then lastly, for our last bit of collab units, we got the GOAT Yui, one of my favorites in the show for sure. She has frontline ice attack up, which is really cool. And then lastly, one of their main things that she has, which is really strong, is that she gives the whole party the party shredding buff, and this allows you to basically mimic what the X squad does, like Yingxia and Sharo and all of them, where they're able to use SP that they don't technically have. So if you have 5 SP and the move is 10 SP, you're just -5. She basically allows anybody to do that, which is absolutely insane for the most part, when it comes to being able to just basically fasten the process by a whole crap ton, letting everyone go into the negatives, which is a really cool thing to have. Not only that, she's a really good buffer, and as you can see, with all this being said for ice, SS2 Kanade just becomes absolutely big monster with these specific collab units in the future. And then we have Aisawa as well. She has ice, ice attack as well, another AoE ice attack and frontline attack up. So it's very ice themed for the later portions of the Angel Beats units. Whenever she inflicts breaks, she gets an additional turn. So having something with this Yui is going to be really nice. And then lastly, for our S rank, we do have a party DP recovery, another sustain, which is really nice, and a dodging buff, which gets you a coin flip if you're going to dodge the attack or not. This could definitely be a really cool mechanic to have, and I'm pretty sure more characters have this in the future when it comes to SS Memorias, and this is just going to be the S we have for the limited ones. But other than that, that is all of the limited Memorias that we are going to look at in the far future. This is actually very exciting to see all of these guys. A lot of them come with insane utility, or they're able to fit multiple roles, but those are going to be all of the different characters that are going to be inside the limited pool, all the ones that you're going to have to take a big eye out for when they get announced to come. I do think that this Ruka should be coming very soon, so this is definitely going to be one character to keep an eye out for the near future after Sutama. But Sutama right now is the main objective, and other than that, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching on to the end. We will be streaming chapter 4 part 2, I think, if I'm not wrong, by the start of next week, which is Monday. Once we have that all situated, we should be starting that, because Sutama is soon, and that means 5.1 is soon, and I really want to start leveling up units as well for score attack runs and showcases and all that. So with that, thank you guys so much for watching. See you on the next one. Peace.